Hello everybody and welcome to chapter 15 of the book of Shemot as we continue to travel through Tanach. Chapter 15 has 27 verses and it's found in the Koren Sachs Chumash on page 464 and 465. Chapter 15 is unusual because much of it is not written as ordinary narrative but as poetry. It contains Shiras Hayam, the Song of the Sea, one of the most famous songs in the entire Torah. After witnessing the splitting of the sea and the defeat of the Egyptian army, Moshe and Bnei Yisrael respond in the most natural way possible. They sing in gratitude to Hashem. In the Torah scroll itself, this song is written in a very distinctive format. Instead of the usual continuous lines of text, the verses are arranged in a brick-like pattern, often described as half brick over whole brick. This layout visually reflects the rhythm of the poem and highlights that this is a national song of praise set apart from the surrounding narrative. The song itself unfolds in three main sections. The first section, verses 1 through 10, are the verses that celebrate the miracle. These opening verses describe the defeat of Egypt and the power of Hashem at the sea. The focus is on what has just happened, the salvation of Israel and the destruction of the Egyptian army. The second section, verses 11 through 16, recognize Hashem's greatness. The song widens its perspective. It speaks about how the surrounding nations will hear about this event and tremble. The miracle at the sea will reshape how the world sees the God of Israel. And the third section, verses 17 and 18, looking towards the future. The final verses of the song look ahead to the long-term destiny of the Jewish people, being brought to their land and to the place where Hashem's presence will dwell. After this extraordinary moment of song, the chapter then returns to the narrative. And in verses 19 to 27, the Israelites begin their journey into the wilderness. Very quickly they face their first challenge, the bitter waters of Marah, before eventually arriving at the oasis of Elim. The Talmud discusses how this song worked. Did all of Bnei Yisrael erupt into unison of spontaneous song, everyone somehow knowing the words? Did Moshe sing a line and then everyone repeated after him? Or did Moshe sing a line and then the Israelites repeated the same line as a chorus? Whichever way it was sung, our sources teach us that the Jewish people experienced a level of prophecy that no one else has experienced before or will have experienced since. In fact, the sources say that even the simplest person experienced a prophecy on the level of the highest prophets. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. And with that in mind, let us start together with chapter 15, verse 1. Az Yashir Moshe u'Bnei Yisrael. And then Moshe and the Israelites sang. And our rabbis point out that this word az implies the future tense. And it is symbolizing for us that this isn't the only point at which we will be singing, but actually there will be a point in the future as well, when the Messianic era has arrived, and we are all experiencing once again this great awakening that inspired song, and we are all experiencing the same sensation that the Israelites experienced at the Red Sea, which inspired them to sing, we too will once again sing. So Moshe and the Bnei Yisrael sang Es Ashira Hazos, this song, Ladonai, to Hashem, Vayomeru Lemor, and they said the following, Ashira Ladonai ki ga'o ga'a, I will sing to Hashem for he has triumphed in glory, Sus v'rochvo rama vayam. He hurled horse with its rider into the sea. And when you hear this chapter being read in shul, there is a special tune that is chanted by the reader, and any verse which contains Hashem's name is sung to a unique tune. Verse 2, Ozi v'zimrasya, Hashem is my strength and song, Vayihi li lishua, and now my salvation. Ze eli va'anvehu, this is my God, and I will glorify him. Elohei avi va'ramamenuhu, the God of my father, and I will exalt him. And our rabbis say that at the sea the people experienced such clarity that they could point and say, this is my God. And just as we said before, even the simplest person saw more clearly than later prophets did. Verse 3, Adonai ish milchama, Hashem is master of war. Adonai Shemot, and Hashem is his name. Verse 4, Makavos Paro v'chelo yaravayam. Pharaoh's chariots and army he hurled into the sea, umivchash shalishav tubu v'yamsuf. And the best of his officers were drowned in the sea of reeds. Verse 5, Tahamos yichasumu. The deep waters covered them. Yoduvim tzelos kamo aven. They sank to the depths like a stone. Verse 6, Yemincha Adonai nedari bakoach. Your right hand, Hashem, is glorified with strength. Yemincha Adonai tiratz oyev. Your right hand, Hashem, smashes the enemy. Verse 7, Uvarov ga'onacha taharos kamecha. In your abundant grandeur you shatter your opponents. Tishalach charonecha yechlema kakash. You send forth your rage, it consumes them like straw. At the end of the day, Hashem is so infinitely powerful that nothing can stand in the way. Verse 8, Uvaruach hapecha ne'emu mayim. By the blast from your nostrils the waters were heaped up. Nitzvu chmodne nozlim. The running water stood straight as a wall. Kafu somos b'lev yam. The deep waters congealed in the heart of the sea. Verse 9, Omar oyev. The enemy declared, Erdof asig. I will pursue, I will overtake. Achalek shalal. I will divide the spoils. Timla'em on nafshi. I will satisfy my lust with them. Arik charbi. I will unsheath my sword. Torshemo yadi. And my hand will destroy them. Verse 10, Noshafta v'uchacha kisamu yam. You blew with your wind. The sea covered over them. Tsolalu ka'oferes b'mayim adirim. They sank like lead in mighty waters. Verse 11, Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Who is like you among the heavenly powers, Hashem? Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Who is like you, mighty in holiness? Noras hilos osefele. Awesome in glory, working wonders. Verse 12, Natisa yiminecha. You reached out your right hand. Tivlaema aretz. The earth swallowed them up. Verse 13, Nachisa v'chastacha amzu goalta. With your kindness you guided this people that you redeemed. Nehalta v'asacha el nevei kodshecha. In your strength you led them to your holy abode. Verse 14, Shamu amim yugazun. Nations heard and they trembled. Chil ochaz yoshvei palashes. Terror seized the Philistines. Verse 15, Az nivhalu alufei Edom. The chiefs of Edom were dismayed then. Elei Moav yachazemo ra'ad. Moab's leaders were seized with trembling. Namogo kol yoshvei Canaan. The people of Canaan melted away. Verse 16, Tipol aleihem a masav afachad. Dread and terror fell upon them. Bigdol zeracha yidmu ka'aven. By your arm's power they were stilled as stone. Ad yavor amcha Adonai. Until your people passed through, Hashem. Ad yavor amzu kanisa. Until the people you acquired crossed over. Verse 17, Teve'emo v'sita'emo bahar nachalasacha. You will bring them, you will plant them on the mountain of your heritage. Machon l'shivtacha po'alta Adonai. The foundation of your dwelling place that you, Hashem, have made. Mikdash Adonai konanu yadecha. The sanctuary, my Lord, that your hands established. Verse 18, Adonai yimloich la'olam va'ed. Hashem shall reign forever and for all time. Verse 19, Ki vasus paro, when Pharaoh's cavalry came, berichbo over farashav bayam, with his chariots and horsemen into the sea, vayashev Adonai aleihem esmei hayam, and Hashem turned back the waters of the sea upon them, uvnei Yisrael halchu bayabasha b'soich hayam, and the children of Israel walked on the dry land through the sea. And that concludes the structure of the Shirah. Now we continue with verse 20. Vatikach Miriam Hanaviyah achos Aharon es hatof biada. Miriam, the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a tambourine in her hand. Vateitzena chol hanashim achareha. And all the women followed her. Besupim uvim cholos, with tambourines and with dances. Verse 21. Vatan lahem Miriam. And Miriam led them in song. Shiru ladonai ki ga'oga'a sus v'rochva ramavayam. Sing to Hashem, for he is exalted above the arrogant, having hurled horse with its rider into the sea. And the rabbis ask this famous question, where did Miriam get these tambourines from? They've just come out of Egypt. They've had to hurry and rush and grab whatever they could to be able to leave. Why would she have prioritized taking musical instruments with her? And the rabbis explain that this is because of the faith that Miriam and all the other women had. They knew that salvation was coming, they knew freedom was coming, and they knew that they were going to have something to celebrate. And that is why they prioritized bringing those musical instruments with them, so that when the time came, they would be ready to go. Verse 22, Vayasa Moshe es Yisrael miyam suf. Moshe then led the Israelites from the Sea of Reeds. Vayetzeu el midbar Shur, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. Vayelchu shloshes yamim bamidbar, and they journeyed for 3 days in the wilderness. V'lo matzu mayim, and they did not find water. And what we're going to see now is that 3 days after this peak of prophetic achievement, they're going to find themselves thirsty, and immediately they are going to complain. Verse 23, Vayava'u marasa, and they came to Marah. V'lo yachlu lishtos mayim mimarah, and they could not drink the water from Marah. Ki marim heim, because they were bitter. Al kain, therefore, krashma Marah. They named this place Marah. Verse 24, Vayilonu ha'am al Moshe lemor, and the people complained to Moshe, saying, Manishteh, what will we drink? Verse 25, Vayitzak el Adonai, and he cried out to Hashem, Vayorehu Adonai ate, and Hashem showed him a tree. Vayashlech el hamayim, and he threw it into the water. Vayimteku hamayim, and the water became sweet. Sham sam lo chok u'mishpat, it was there that Hashem gave his people decree and law. V'sham nisahu, and it was there that he put them to the test. Verse 26, Vayomer, and he said, Im Shemot tishma lekol Adonai Elohecha. If you listen faithfully to the voice of Hashem your God, v'hayashar be'einav ta'aseh, and do what is just in his eyes, v'ha'azanta lemitzvosav, heeding his commands, v'shomarta kol chukav, and observing all his decrees, kol ha'machala asher samti v'mitzrayim, then any of the diseases that I brought on the Egyptians, lo asim alecha, I will not bring upon you, Ki ani Adonai rof'echa, for I am Hashem, your healer. And finally, verse 27, Vayava'u Elima, and they arrived at Elim, V'sham, and over there, Shtemesrei Einos Mayim, there were 12 springs of water, V'shivim Tmarim, and 70 date palms, Vayachanu Sham al Hamayim, and they encamped there by the water. And of course, our rabbis point out that these numbers 12 and 70 are not coincidental, they are symbolic, and they bring different explanations and interpretations, whether they're symbolic of the 12 tribes, the 70 nations, whether they mean other things as well. Either way, this whole passage about the bitter water at Marah and about arriving at this oasis of Elim, there are deeper things going on over here, and please God, in the future we'll have the opportunity to learn more about these together. But that brings us for now to the end of chapter 15. And in chapter 16, we're going to see that Bnei Yisrael are complaining again, and this is when Hashem will send them food miraculously to keep them nourished. I look forward to learning that chapter with you, and in the meantime, have a wonderful and meaningful day.